Let's discuss Lilith's domain and where digging in our heels, or seeing where we dig in our heels, heals. First of all, although certain asteroids are astrological influences, despite that it shares the same name, the two Black Moon Lilith designations in the human design chart is not asteroid 1181, which was discovered in 1927. Nor is Lilith a planet or other heavenly body. In human design, your design and personality Lilith placements are simply points in space without a physical body, similar to the north and south nodes in that respect, which also don't have a physical body, but rather are key points in space calculated mathematically, which still very much have a powerful impact on us, despite them not technically having a physical mass or a body. Or noticeable impact on our rave chart portrait, meaning aside from seeing them listed in the design and personality columns, you won't see the hanging or dormant Black Moon Lilith or Chiron gates in your chart. By the way, if you don't yet know your Lilith or Chiron placements for that matter, we include both of those in our chart.
Well, isn't that special?
I'll put a link in the description below and do a Chiron video later. Your Lilith gates are the respective lunar orbit apogees of your conscious and unconscious moons. For those unfamiliar with the term, which I was born knowing, is the point along the moon's orbit when it's furthest from Earth. If you like this line of inquiry into the Lilith areas, please know that there are many varying Lilith familial iterations and paths you can go down in astrology, that is. If that's something you want to investigate, like Dark Moon Lilith, the Jacobson Lilith, White Moon Selena, Priapus, Algol, which are all affiliated with Lilith to varying degrees. And yes, even asteroid Lilith, be it more subtle, is also a thing, as is the difference between mean Black Moon Lilith and true osculating Black Moon Lilith, which incidentally share the same glyph, that crescent moon with the Venus cross beneath it, for lack of a better description. And it's pretty fascinating, but I'm not going to get into those here. It's sort of off topic, since this is more so a human design discussion, in which mean Black Moon Lilith is the calculation that is used in all human design software. Mythologically speaking, back in the Garden of Eden days, Lilith was Adam's first wife, but because she was an independent and sexually liberated woman, she didn't tolerate being subordinate to Adam, which ushered her exit from the garden. And keep in mind, that's totally a TLDR Reader's Digest summary. The gates where Lilith lands in your chart reveal conscious and unconscious elements of your power, inner truths, clues to important shadow work. So while this may be potentially challenging energy or terrain for you to navigate, having this awareness of your Lilith gate placements can also be quite liberating and insightful. These are powerful pointings because Lilith will reveal old facets of your psyche that may be news to you. A mixed bag of both inspiring and challenging themes relating to liberation, your unique sensual nature and seductive powers, impassioned, historically feminine warrior aspects you may be repressing that are seeking to reclaim power. I liken these also to inconvenient superpowers that may not fit in well with society. Areas where you show up as extra and others would prefer you turn down your volume, perhaps prompting an overpowered reaction on your end. So somewhere you need to cultivate more independence in these areas away from those who don't value it rather than suppress it. So these would be unsightly parts of yourself you may not always be willing to express, or where you feel raw when exposed, or areas with strong boundaries that, when trespassed upon by an unwelcome other, may trigger you into digging in and taking a stand, perhaps obnoxiously, while vibing "You shall not pass," where you refuse to hide your light or capitulate, where you may be known to sometimes go above and beyond what is called for or perceived by others as an unmeasured reaction. So this could also be described as where you might be seen by others as weird or quirky or uncomfortable to be around, considering not everyone has personal boundaries located in the same territory. So when you take a stand there, because it's not your problem, others may be WTF, dude. So the themes swirling around Lilith are sensuality, repression, shadow material, personal empowerment, and where you go against the mainstream. And when it comes to the quality differences of your unconscious Lilith versus your conscious Lilith, you're unlikely to find easy, simplistic interpretations. Lilith requires more of a gene keys level personal contemplation, in my opinion. But having said that, what resonates for me is that the unconscious Lilith, for me, has a more deeply primitive, ancestral, instinctual, body level, taboo vibe, with the conscious Lilith perhaps past life related, sort of like a darker, more shadowy south node type thing. Similarly, it could share Pluto's soul trajectory as well, just more focused in the area of darker feminine, anti-patriarchal, rebellious, or vengeful trauma responses, where one acts in defiance or in defense of perceived oppression, rejection, or shaming. You will notice on the Ray of Mandala, the location of your two Lilith gates are located within the same astrological sign territory. So it can be helpful to investigate your Lilith gate placements in layers, because your understanding of their influence may reveal new facets of their influence in layers. One layer may be to investigate how Lilith in that sign flavors the expression and apply that vibe as an overlay to the particular gate placements. Another layer could be envisioning a Venn diagram of how each of those particular gates work together, or what they share in common that may describe your more troubling traits. Maybe they are things that you prefer not to admit or say out loud. Deep-seated insecurities or personality glitches you must confront. Things you perhaps have already addressed head-on in your healing journey that you may have a better handle on these days, but still present in some fashion, like a statue or artifact you notice in the corner of your consciousness. Because it doesn't disappear entirely. It remains available at the ready when these gate frequencies get triggered. So we need to stay vigilant of these tendencies through our consciousness practice. So we may recognize more quickly when the statue begins to animate, which is certainly much more challenging when it comes to your unconscious Lilith. Please consider that we're not just talking about energy that stays inside the confines of your inner experience. These express in active outward energy releases. So I think you'll agree that they're helpful to know about, because if you're living out your lamer not-self version, the forecasted chance of you experiencing shocking not-self outcomes is astronomically higher when these gate themes get poked. Perhaps zeroing in to that vibe will shake loose some insights or memories of when you experienced such a thing, and going about it that way may shed some light on how those particular Lilith gate placements have shown up for you. Maybe that's another pathway for you to grok their meaning in your life. Otherwise, after meditating on these placements, please do comment below with how they show up for you. And again, some of these may not be so cut and dry. So here's to you gracefully reaching a breakthrough with this one. Uncomfortable as it may be for us to look at our more shadowy bits, it's always helpful knowing where to look, so we know where to aim our flashlight when exploring the mostly unexplored subterranean rooms inside us. After all, your shadow will come out. So it's your choice if you want it to come out in a smart way or in a not-self way. Knowing your Lilith gates allows you the opportunity to flip the light switch on their influence, so they can begin to work for us rather than against us. Because without awareness, and when you're not following your strategy and authority, Lilith will reveal in that perhaps dumber way your obsessive or destructive tendencies. If you prefer something more graceful and aligned, meditate on these placements and journal a bit, perhaps not even paying attention to what you're writing until afterwards. Notice what insights begin to percolate and point you towards additional pathways leading to healthier balance. And when I say healthier balance, I'm emphasizing healthier and not healthy. And what I mean is that Lilith does not integrate well with your other parts. It's that part that doesn't integrate. But shining the light of awareness on these areas, healthier approaches can help mitigate the more regrettable, unhealthy, furious, or darker side reactions. And if you don't yet have a trusty gate channel reference already, you can check out our inexpensive $5 Gates and Channels download, which you'll find on the other side of that same link in the description. Having that inexpensive reference is helpful, so you can immediately begin to contemplate your Chiron and Lilith, not to mention your other gates and channels. Above all else I've said here, keep this in mind. Whatever you perceive in your Lilith gates as a limitation is a protection that works in your favor when you're operating correctly. Please hit the like button for this video. It helps us out. And if you want to subscribe, that helps us out too. And if you did both, our fondness for you cannot be measured. Good journey.
Good day, sir.